Welcome to WorldatWork TV. I'm Tanya Adamski. I'm joined today by Leonard Sanicola, practice leader here at WorldatWork. Today we'll be discussing the 2014 Paid Time Off Programs and Practices Survey. WorldatWork has conducted this survey every 4 years since 2002. Welcome, Lenny. Can you help us understand, for the context of this discussion, some of the differences between a traditional paid time off system and a PTO bank type system?
Sure. A traditional paid time off system separates time off categories between vacation, sick, holiday, personal time, etc. A PTO bank type system, however, is a combined number of days that can be used for a variety of purposes, a variety of absences. Now, with both types of programs, the amount that an individual might earn under each program will increase with organizational tenure. So that's the same between both types of programs. But one of the differences is that in a traditional type system, managers and total rewards professionals are obligated to track the reasons for absences, the number of days, and the reasons for the absence.
In the first 3 versions of this survey, we saw a clear trend line where traditional systems were decreasing and PTO bank type systems were increasing. However, in 2014, we saw that these numbers really leveled off and PTO banks didn't increase really at all. Can you give us some perspective on why that might be?
That stat isn't necessarily surprising. I mean, PTO bank type systems, certainly we have seen over the last 10 to 12 years a considerable growth in usage and implementation of those plans. But again, a PTO bank type system is not for every organization. Depending upon the organization's culture, its workforce demographics, if it's had any productivity or absenteeism issues, what its company objectives are with its time programs, variety of reasons. So I wasn't necessarily surprised that there was this sort of plateau in 2014. I would interpret it that those companies where PTO bank type systems are appropriate, they've implemented them, and those that have chosen not to are satisfied with their traditional time off programs. Now, another consideration could be some financial and liability concerns here. For example, transitioning from a traditional system to a PTO bank type system might incur additional costs. So for example, in a traditional system, sick time and personal time typically wouldn't be paid out at separation. Now, there are state mandates that require, for example, sick time to be paid out, but putting that aside, traditionally most companies don't allow sick or personal time to be carried over from year to year or paid out. In a PTO bank type system, that total number of days is an earned benefit and therefore would be paid out at separation. So a PTO bank can increase costs because there is a liability there.
Other than financial or liability reasons, are there any other reasons?
There could be. Now, these aren't reasons that we necessarily tested in this survey, but one reason could be employee relations issues. Perhaps, depending upon an individual's usage of time off, especially for sick time, they may see a more or less number of days in their PTO bank. So they could see it as a greater benefit or a lesser benefit, and that could be an employee relations issue that maybe an organization doesn't want to address. Another reason could be is that with PTO, although it's used for a variety of absences, many people like to look at it as a lump sum of an extended vacation. So they may want to preserve their time off. So if they are sick, they go to the office anyway because they want to save that time for a vacation. Of course, going to the office sick is not good for other people, exposing other people to illnesses, and can impact organizational productivity. Now, one way to kind of a potential solution is in your communication. So when you're talking about the usage of PTO banks, it's important for an employer to make sure that employees understand that it's used for a variety of absences. Yes, certainly you can save up for that extended vacation, but you should also use it when appropriate if you are truly ill, and keep your illnesses at home and don't bring it to the office.
Absolutely. Are there differences between industries and what type of system they offer?
In the last 2 surveys, healthcare and social assistance organizations by far were the greatest users of PTO bank type systems. Not surprising, PTO banks really started in the 1970s out of the healthcare industry, and their prevalence has grown in organizations that have 24/7 operations. We also saw in the 2014 results about 61% of nonprofits and not-for-profits reported using PTO bank type systems. Traditional systems were pretty prevalent among all the other industry sectors. The category called all other manufacturing, which would include industries like consumer products, about 2/3 of those reported using traditional time off programs.
In the report, we show the average number of days off offered under each type of program. Can you tell us how they compare?
Sure. Typically, you'll find with PTO bank type systems, there'll be fewer total number of days offered. And with that comes greater flexibility for time off and ease of administration for employers. In traditional time off systems, typically you'll see a greater number of total days to be earned, but with that comes usage limitations and typically labor-intensive administration on the part of the employer.
So would you say it's really fair to compare these two systems?
Well, it's not always apples to apples, so my caution to total rewards professionals who may be doing some benchmarking to make sure that you understand that PTO bank type systems, it's a total number of days, a cumulative number of days that can be used for a variety of purposes, and that it is an earned benefit that typically is paid out at separation or carries over from year to year. Whereas in traditional time off systems, there are separate time off categories: vacation, sick, holiday, personal, and typically they have each a different number of days that potentially can be earned. And many of those categories may not carry over from year to year or be paid out at separation of employment.
Good to know. Thank you, Lenny. For World at Work TV, I'm Tanya Damsky.